Alright, it has been a while since I've done a deer video, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. Have to say, professional and shit, right? Dear Gabe Newell, okay, something interesting happened, and that is that Gabe Newell received a lot of harsh criticism as he took to Reddit to answer a few questions about the Steam monetization of the modding community, an effort that ended so horribly that Steam decided to postpone the pay modding thing altogether and give refunds to everyone that bought mods. And to Gabe Newell, as I have stated previously, allowing modders to charge for mods is not a bad thing. But Valve's way of handling it left something to be desired. While I understand that the potential that this has to be beneficial to PC gaming is great, doing it correctly might actually be more trouble than it is worth. Firstly, to the people who say that this is just all bad, please understand that the potential benefits of this working would be immense. If Valve can prove that there is extra money for companies to make off of PC gaming in terms of mods, then companies could be more likely to release PC games at a higher rate along with releasing modding tools for those games, allowing modders faster access to the content. One big hurdle here, as I have stated before, is Valve has an absolutely terrible idea of what it means to police content on Steam. And while they can get away with it on the sales page, since the publishers do have a hurdle or two, plus the community will point out any negatives, the idea of using this system for the modding community just seems like it would turn into a shit show very quickly. How does one show ownership of a mod, proving it to be their creation and not someone else's? How does one sell a mod if parts of that mod were made by another modder? Now, granting a 24-hour refund period is a great idea on Valve's part, giving people the chance to report if a mod is any good or not. The try before you buy method is essential for this type of program. One problem that some people seem to be afraid of, though, is that this will become the ultimate DLC gate, where companies will just not produce any DLC, or worse, will just pimp out their own DLC on the mod page. Now, thankfully, I just don't think that this will happen, as it just doesn't seem to be beneficial image and monetarily wise. Because for the most part, games that are on the PC are quite usually on console, unless they happen to be an MMO or a mobile game. Two genres that probably wouldn't like you doing heavy modding to their game. And two regular releases, well, the only thing people have to worry about there is that companies are coming in and taking mods from the PC and selling it as DLC on the consoles. Which isn't impossible given the greed of companies, but still quite improbable. And finally, we come down to the issue of money, because this world revolves around it, and as a company there is no need to do anything if they are not planning on making a profit off of it, or either setting up a scenario where in the future a profit can be made. And I understand that Valve likes money, but please understand that the 25% share for the content creators seems like a kick in the arse. And it may well be true that Valve had to fight just to get them that. But in this world, perception is more reality than reality itself is. And the current perception is that greedy old Valve is trying to screw over modders and nickel and dime consumers. Let's say, for instance, instead of the 25%, you offered 33%, which is essentially 1/3. People would have just assumed that it was a three-way split, meaning that the publisher and Valve and the modder got an equal share. Now, obviously, this didn't have to be true. Valve could have taken more than half. But because of what we knew of the content creators' 33%, then people would have just assumed and perception is reality could have taken over. Plus, since Valve likes to push the blame elsewhere, they would have stayed the middleman, as the public outrage would have just flowed past them towards the modders who charged ridiculous prices for their mods. And over time, as the backlash from consumers pummeled modders into submission, the pricing system probably would have fixed itself. But even with all that, the biggest problem would still remain, and that is the quality control of the mods themselves. Sure, you can install an upvote downvote system and have a list of most recommended mods for the game, which may over time may work. But my only real concern is how will you be able to verify a mod and not, let's say, have a modder run over to another mod site, take those mods, and then come over to Steam and post the work up as his own and try to rake in a few pennies. Sure, holding on to the payments to allow a modder to claim his work is one way of doing it, but what would be the verification process of such a system? But either way, that would require a decent amount of customer service, something Valve doesn't really have a handle on. Oh well, I've been talking long enough, so I'll end it by just giving my overall opinion. And that is that I think that the pay mod system is a great idea, which, if done correctly, would enhance PC gaming greatly. But here's the problem with that. It'd take a lot of effort to be done correctly, and I doesn't think Valve have it in them. You all have a blessed day. I really don't like talking like that, like saying whatever the fuck comes to my mind.